of the articles I saw that was just in the, they said I was escaped from a zoo.
They do that a lot.
Yeah, you went out the drain pipe out to the ocean.
At the Seattle Aquarium, the octopus that's less than 10 pounds in the large exhibit, they can do it too.
There was a, I was down in Newport and they had an octopus in the thing. They always trying to get out. They often found it in the middle of the floor trying to get.
That's what happens for Seattle. Like the last time we had tried to escape, they tried to get out there, and we octopus ring on it now, so they don't like touching. So we have like a ring of fake grass and a donut that kind of angles it in. Makes it harder to feed them. I volunteer down there. I get to feed the octopus stuff. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
What do you feed them?
Little bits of fish. And put them on a stick.
Not crabs?
We feed them. They feed them crabs. It's at the Marine Life Center in Bellingham, which I used to work for.
Cool.
All right, so I am going to use community as let's hopefully. No, just they operate row by row. These are functions that operate on each individual row in the table. And then aggregate functions. What do you think those are? Operate on blocks, even and including the entire table, right? So there's count. Combines them all together, so I kind of combined them too. The other thing, let me do a quickie zoom just to show you. I'm going to even touch the numbers of functions that there are. So if I go into Community Assist and I go into Programmability and I look at functions. So we can, and we will eventually write our own functions. But if you look under System Functions, you'll see that there are a lot of different kinds of functions here. There's aggregate functions, configuration functions, cursor functions, date and time functions, mathematical functions, metadata functions, other functions, hierarchy ID functions, row set functions, security functions. And if you look under any of these, so let's look under aggregate real quick, you'll see that they have a whole bunch of pre-built functions, including minimum and max and sum and standard deviation and variance, a lot of different statistical functions. And I just want to let you know, I'm going to show you a few functions, but there are them. Math functions. So, you know, there are a few math functions there. Lots of different rounded.
Code already written.
Yes, these are already done for you. Yeah. When you write your own function, which we won't do for a while, but which we will eventually do, you'd probably be doing something that doesn't already exist if there's not a function for it already. Does that make sense? Different functions that you can have. And I'm only going to show you a very few.
You just type in those names like on the query.
So if I did, well, so you need a select usually to use a function. Yeah. I'm going to show you a couple of date time functions. So first I'm just going to show you what's in donation. And also to remind myself. All right, so I'm just doing select star from donation. Do you guys want this in Zoom or would you rather have more?
This is good.
Okay. So notice there's dates. So some of the things that I want to show you is some date time functions here. And this is a date time, right? This is date time because it has the whole date and the time. Date fields just have the date, time fields just have the time, but date time have both. So to use a function, so let's look at some really simple functions. I'm going to select year. And a function, these are like functions elsewhere, so they'll have a parentheses, and you need to put in like donation date. From donation. All right. What that's going to do is it will return the years, and if I want it to be distinct, I could get regulations, right? If you just wanted to see what years there are. So there's 2 years in it. There's 215 and 216. What? Community assist. So use community assist to have it at the very top. Should be there. Okay, notice there's no column name. All right, when you use a function, by default, it doesn't have a name. So you could do, we could name this, I'm going to just in square brackets put year. And if I run that, it gives us the heading of year. So I aliased it. Why did I put? Because it's a reserved word. It's a function. Functions tend to be, what color would you call that? Magenta?
Yeah.
Yeah. they're by default in this environment they have kind of a magenta look to them. Yeah. Now, if I wanted to look at month, so I'm just going to do it distinct again, so we only see the ones month, donation date, and I will alias it as month. All right, and it works exactly the same. That month doesn't tell. Does that make sense? So you can extract the month. I'm going to go to, yeah, and you can do day. Again, this won't tell you what month it's from either if you do distinct. And you can combine these if you want it. Did I spell donation? No, that shouldn't matter. Oh, date needs probably a square bracket. SQL is not case sensitive. So those are the dates that there are donations on. Again, it doesn't say what month. And you could combine these. You could do select distinct month, comma, day, comma, year. I mean, you could. I want you to do the thing that's called select. It's date part, and if I want a year, I can do YY, comma, donation date, and then I'll just do a year. And this has exactly the same effect as using the year. It's just a different form of it. And I didn't put distinct in there, so we got all those. And you can do the same. I'm going to do it this time. So I'm going to put hour here and do donation date. Form, okay. And it should return the hours. And again, if I wanted to do it, I could do it as distinct. And it was hours, which is not very meaningful, but you know, you can access the minute. Yeah.
You scroll up so I can see the top of it.
Yeah, well, I could come out of Zoom if you want. What do you need to see?
I just need everything. I don't know what I did.
Oh, you probably said selected. And then pressed it. You could probably undo to get it back.
Yeah, I created a new file and it's just not here anymore. Let's stuff from last week.
All right, so and it was here, right? So try doing undo.
Control Z.
Yeah, Control Z for just like 2, 3.
Yeah, I tried.
Okay. Well, all right.
That's okay. I can try.
Yeah, I mean it's just year, month, day, and then the date part, and the date part particularly lets you get in. Weirdly, hour out here, like it doesn't always work, but you can get down to the millimeter, the millisecond in the time. I think MS in here is millisecond, and it would give you that.
I think it's just 6 months. You said we could choose month.
So if you wanted to, you could combine these. So you can't just do comma day.
Okay.
So you'd have to do select. So let's do month date part. So I'm going to do like plus. You want a comma or you want a slash or what? Let's do a slash just to do plus day. Date, not date part. You have to concatenate it in.
Oh.
Although you could do just a comma between.
But it's because I didn't do donation day after month and day.
Oh yeah, you have to do them both. And then I'll just do plus year donation date. Actually, I probably want plus slash plus. This is if you wanted to just to reformat the date. There's actually other ways to do this, but
You're putting a space
oh,
in the plus.
what did I do? What? Oh, I know why. Something, and I guess this could be instructed. Cast. Actually, what they return is integers, right? All right, let's just do incar. And then the month could not do. Let's break stay on screen. This is actually useful because it might you have to do for certain things, and then I need to cast this too. Okay, so now when I do it, you can see that it gives me my nice American date format. And we didn't do distinct again. And the reason why there's so many on one day is I said I did a lot of loops in C# to populate them faster.
Does the line 15 end of it saying as date?
Yes.
Okay.
There we go. And again, this is actually, so I'm not sure if I have you do anything like this, but you may have to cast at different times, right? If you want to do certain things, it's good to do that.
Okay. Yeah, it was very unhappy with it without his having to cast and stuff around.
Yes. Because you can only concatenate character types. You can't concatenate integers with characters. And what do these month, year, and day, they all return an integer. Right? They all return a.
And you can only concatenate here.
Right. I'm showing you the date ones because date, there's a lot of need to use these date functions to figure things out. Right? So far, I'm going to show you a couple of them, adding and subtracting. Now, because you could always subtract, add and subtract between day and month. I'm not sure if it makes a lot of sense, but. So I'm going to do a date diff, which is another function. I'm going to do what, actually, so we need a couple of do this without causing lots of this could be a little, but we'll do it anyway. I'm going to do date diff. Date diff tells you what you're subtracting. It's subtract. This is the interval. What are you subtracting? Are you subtracting days? Are you subtracting months? You know, what are you subtracting? So I'm going to do days. Although actually, well, days can be DD, or you could actually write day. I need I'm going to do min higher date. I'm going to do this. Let me skip that to just select star from employee. I'm doing this just to see what's in employee to remind myself. So there's a higher date. Right, so it is employee higher date. Introduce. We haven't talked about. These are aggregate functions. So does it not like that? Oh, it should be okay. It just needed the employee there. This should give me the difference in days, which is probably not that relevant. I'm going to run it and then we can see. So 2009 is between the employee hired and the last. Let's change that to, what would make sense, years? So there's 8 years between the first employee and the last. That makes more sense probably. So minimum is this aggregate function that returns the lowest value, and max is an aggregate function that returns the highest value. And the latest date. Notice one of the things is like you could with cast, you can embed functions inside of functions. You can do it until you go insane. I mean, I think there's a limit of 255 in.
Can you get some kind of precision on that, like for the second half?
Not unless you did that for the months.
You have to take months. And
I think what you'd have to do is you'd have to change this to months and do months divided by 12.
yeah. So you just
But it's so you'd have to. I mean, you cast it to decimal, but it's integer by default.
I'm getting errors, I don't know why. It's saying this is.
I got it like it work.
Oh, you have to have meters from.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take down so I can see it. There you go.
Oh, sure.
Sweet.
Then you have to also say the.
Um, I am not sure. I don't know that I can. Let's try something. This is not something you need to do, but you're decimal. Decimal would still not be really. So I'm going to cast. This is just to see if I can get the so I have to make sure. So cast, this is max, as decimal 10-2. Need one more.
have to return this.
Oh,
you have to cast it both.
I don't have to cast one of them, but it only returns an alpha number though, right?
Yeah, we're trying to integer, or I mean, not integer.
Well, maybe it's because you're asking for years.
Well, no matter what I have, integer.
It's not gonna.
Okay, months is like 12. How would you do that? You have to make a function.
All right, so this is the date difference. I'm going to do 0.0, which will make it a decimal.
Then you have to still cast it.
Yeah. probably won't allow. Oh, it did. A lot of sixes there. So you could round it or if you want. Although, what did I do for 10-2? But it gave me the result was not 2 places. It's weird it wouldn't let me do decimal literally just as a 12.0. It made me cast it. So I think that this is assuming that this has 2 decimal points, right? It's making this number have 2 decimal points, but the result of the equation isn't subject to the same limit.
If you do, yeah, exactly. So you're not doing 10, 2 to the quotient.
Right.
You're just defining 12 as 10, 2. Can you?
So the reason why I needed to cast one side, now it might be,
If you cast from the date difference as decimal 10, 2, you think it'll lift.
so the trouble with that is that even though I cast the whole result as decimal, the internal division is integer division. This happens in a lot of programming languages. It's one of the issues with integer division, basically. I could probably make it work. I'm not sure we should spend the next 20 minutes doing that, but I could cast both sides and then cast the whole. So I could cast the date diff and then cast the whole, and then it should, but that's a lot of casting.
So you would put casting on the outside of parentheses?
So I would do cast.
So tell us what casting is and what is it doing?
It's converting from one data type to another.
Okay. I'm gonna write that down in my comments here.
And it's the same thing when you do casting in other languages. Yeah, I mean, I'm not entirely sure this is worth.
Yeah, I just, yeah, that's a lot. A lot of cash, that's a very good thing. Cash, data.
Decimal must be spelled right. See, we did it. But was it worth doing? That's a different question.
But why would you have to use a double cash then?
Right, well, because of the integer division in the middle. So no matter, despite the fact that I cast, now it's possible I could skip casting the integer division, except that there'll be no, because the min employee hire date and the max employee hire date, that's a subtract. That's going to be an integer.
Right.
We might not have to cast it, actually. We could probably get away with just casting the whole result.
Were you that cast after the
So this cast you might not need. Yeah, actually so that cast you probably don't need. Which means that I can get rid of this part. I'll post all this. It'll be there.
Okay.
And again, this is just because you asked questions, which is okay. So that worked the same. I had one extra cast that I didn't really need. This is a little easier to read. Well, so cast is changing the data type. of the underlying column. So you can't, so by default, date diff returns an integer, right? And when you divide an integer by an integer, there's no decimal parts. Now, this is not 17 months, obviously. It's 17/10ths of a year. So you still don't have what you might want. Does that make sense?
How can we get it so it'll display it as years difference, months difference, days difference?
So it would take a lot more math.
Okay,
So you would have to get the total months.
yeah.
You would have to divide by years, and maybe we could get,
Use the modulo.
we could use the modulus, yeah. The modulus is the remainder. You want to try that?
Sure.
We need to get to some of the other functions, but
Yeah, I want to see years, months, days, because that's more helpful than having a year decimalized. We don't have decimalized dates and times.
so I'm going to do date diff,
Okay.
and we'll take it in months. So we'll do the min. So actually, all of this, I'm just going to copy this function actually. All right, so that's fine.
Bracket,
And then we're just going to do divided by 12.
an extra bracket. On the end.
I don't know that I do. 1, 2, 1, 2, maybe. I don't think that's the issue though. It's because I haven't got it from yet.
Yeah.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1. This one needs an extra one though. No, it doesn't. Okay. Divided by 12. Oh, this is actually not going to be a whole lot better because I need to repeat this whole function. Modulus 12. I'm going to say all right. I'm going to run it despite all the red near years. Doesn't like, did I need 1, 2? So this is 1, 2. Oh, this one needs to go away. There we go.
Can you take that off the other one for 1, 2?
Yeah. Eight years, 2 months.
Yeah.
Nice job.
And you could probably add another, actually, I don't know how you get the days.
It's not a check.
Oh, it's
Percent is actually not percent, it's a modulus. So it means remainder
Oh, okay.
in this context.
Nice.